Bears Banner. My name's Bernard Muhammad. With me tonight is Guy Moore, Keith Floyd Noy, and Jay Beasley, and Mike Quick all be joining us shortly. Hey, what's going on tonight?
Nada.
How's it going with you?
Oh man, I'm disappointed. The Bears lose 19-13 to the Vikings. Man, this was a weird game to me. It never really seemed to get going. It almost looked like both teams weren't ready to play to some degree.
Right.
Looking at the Bears defense, the defense looked probably their sharpest all year. What did?
Yeah.
They gave up 13 points.
Yeah.
So the defense was doing pretty good. One of the things that continues to just plague us the entire year is we keep giving up. Not only do they get turnovers from our offense, but they score on them. I think that's the fourth pick six fumble return that we've given up this year in only 6 games. So that's pretty ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, you got to have ball security because we definitely lost in the turnover battle because without that turnover, I mean, you can't really say what the outcome of the game would be, but you definitely would say the defense was holding them, and the difference in this game was that fumble and also that drive really we actually blew 2 red zone possessions. It was the one red zone possession where Fields got hit and he threw the interception, but you definitely were in field goal range in that area. And then Bajan, I don't know why he was going for that play really, because in reality, you didn't want to score that quick anyway, just in case he had hit that. To me, you were just supposed to manage, just keep getting first down and kind of like burn the clock. And he was trying to throw a bomb right out of the 2-minute drill. I mean, out of the 2-minute warning.
Well, he had just completed that pass that was, halfway across the field, across his body. It was a 5-yard completion to Scott. So, once he did that and Scott came back for the ball, he was like, hey, I know how to play at this level. No, you don't. You might have to calm down a little bit, young man. We're trying to make a 70-yard completion. You ain't Patrick Mahomes or nothing like that. Get us a nice couple first downs, and we keep running it that way. So it's kind of sad.
I actually thought that play when Scott came back and catch. I actually thought that was going to be a pick. It was just an air so long. Yeah,
it was too much air up under it. I was like, oh, and I was amazed that they got the completion. It was a 5-yard completion for a 55-yard throw. That was pretty amazing if you think about it.
I will say today, this is the worst that Chicago Bears offensive line played all season. There were, I know some people may point to some games where there were a lot more sacks, but a lot of those sacks early on, I was putting them on more so Justin Fields are holding the ball. Today, they just did not have a game plan for what the Vikings was doing early in that game. And it looked like all they was doing early in the game was they was going to put pressure on Larry Borum's side of the field. Hey, what's up, Mike? How's it going?
Man, what's going on?
All right.
It's going better than the Bears season.
Hey, I got a dud of the day award, if you want to call it a reward. That has to go for, in my perspective, to Cody Whitehair. This dude was straight garbage the whole game. Even when he stood up for the block standpoint, every snap went over the quarterback head. They had to do some kind of heroic efforts just to get the doggone ball. And he had, how do you explain to me, please, quick? How do you, as a center on 3rd and 1, get called for offsides? How does that work?
When you trash, you do garbage things. I was laughing because they finally took him out of the game after 9,000 bad snaps, right? I was like, what was taking so long to decide that he was? I was just like, what are we doing? Then to see him sitting on the sideline during the game, I was just like, yeah, he's gonna be on that list to buy Felicia too. I'm telling you.
You sucking when you getting pulled out of the game for a guy who can't even play, Lucas Patrick.
Yeah,
That's bad.
that's concussed.
Yeah, right. But he was throwing off the rhythm of their passing game for a large part of the game, from just snapping the ball too low, too high. I mean, you had 10 days to practice this now. I mean, between the last game, I kind of last game it happened because hey, you haven't been center all season, but now you had 10 days and you come out snapping a ball, and it was a couple of. Matter of fact, it was a screen that he messed up the screen rhythm because the ball came so low.
Yep.
I see somebody said Justin Fields has a dislocated thumb from his throwing.
They just announced that just a few minutes ago. They doing that. His thumb was dislocated. They popped it back in place, and then they doing an MRI tomorrow. So it's not looking very good, but they didn't say it was bad. So, but it's on his throwing hand.
As a brother who had a broken thumb on that same throwing hand, that's a 6-week injury. It's not good.
Yeah, because we just saw, what was that, 2 years ago, we saw Russell Wilson have that same injury. You saw Dak Prescott have it last year because Dak had, and he was out 4 weeks and came back and sucked it. Well, he sucked anyway, so.
Yeah, they were winning without Dak in there. So, Dak, even last week I watched the game, I was like, Dak out there Daking. So, he is terrible, man.
He's Daking it up. But at least he could move his hips though when he's warming up. He got the hip motion.
Nah, man, that's the La Cucaracha. He's not doing anything towards the quarterback. That's the La Cucaracha dance. He's been working on the
Victor Cruz.
Oh yeah, Victor Cruz used to dance, didn't he? I don't know, but anyway, going to this game, it really wasn't a whole lot positive I saw from this game, other than the defense showed up, and they did create a lot of pressure today, and they did create a couple of fumbles, and I believe they got one interception. Well, they actually got the one fumble they recovered, and they got an interception. But I don't believe they did. I think they got a field goal out of one of those turnovers. The other one, I don't think they got nothing out of it. Matter of fact, that was the possession where they Justin Fields threw the interception and gave it back to him.
Right.
Yeah, they also didn't get that fumble on the sideline, so that would have been another turnover. The one where Tremaine was they ruled him out of bounds. His foot was out of bounds when they recovered.
Hey, so Mike, from your perspective, since you're a ref, I mean, how did you view that play? I mean, that looked it looked like he had possession.
Nah, the ball was so the ball was toward the end zone. I mean, what am I saying, man? The ball was toward the sideline, and he dove to get the ball. Once he got the ball to try to secure it and pull it in, his foot was on the line. So that was why they ruled that play was that it was no good. I was sitting there hoping. I was like, man, they didn't even take it to replay. They was like, after further discussion, not after further review, like after further discussion, it will remain the Vikings ball. So they didn't even go to review for that play.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Mike. We know you got your experience in that, and you give us that experience view of what happened in that play.
Hey, there was an Eddie Jackson fighting today too, wasn't it? I think I saw him for the first the half a play that he was in. Then after that, he was on the sideline. So I think he shot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't he get hurt too? I think we had
Yep.
a couple injuries today. Yeah.
How do you
It
come
was a
off
weird day in
the
football
injury
today.
report just to get hurt?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it was a weird day throughout the league with injuries because by the time I got to the 49ers game, McCaffrey and Debo was not playing. I'm like, hey, what are we doing here? What are we doing, people? Hey, turn the channel. I don't want to see nobody else. Yeah, both McCaffrey and Debo was hurt and out of the game for the remainder of the game. And I was like, we turning the channel on this.
Well, they had a good fight at the pregame though. That worked out pretty good.
Mm.
Yeah, the
Oh
moral
yeah, they
story.
sure did, didn't they? That was Debo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but Debo and the real Debo, Trent Williams, showed up over there, and nobody else started pushing him back. They were all pushing. Then Trent showed up over there. They was like, "You want some of me, old man?" No. And it was funny because a buddy of mine, Andre, had posted something about the 49ers and how they, get all up in people's faces before the game. This was last night before today, and they showed Trent Williams just take somebody. I think it was against the Eagles last year. He took somebody and just slammed him down from the back. And when he got over there, everybody's like, never mind. Hey, never mind. We good.
Yeah, hey, so I'm looking at some of these stats. Tyson Bagent, 14 attempts, 10 completions, 83 yards, 56.5 QB rating. He was sacked once, an interception, and a fumble. Man, dude, your debut.
Hey, he was lighting up the stat sheet, man. He tried to get one. You remember back when
in
we
every
was little
column.
kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we was little kids and we had those fundraiser sheets that we used to take around, and you try to have one on every selection,
Right.
whatever the cookies and stuff was. That's how his debut sheet was.
Hey, he wanted to make sure he played a complete game.
Yeah, right.
So what we have here? Somebody on YouTube said Miguel says I'm still baffled at how they had 10 days to prepare for this game, and that's what you put out. Miguel, I agree with you. It did kind of look like they was unprepared. That's what I kind of said at the beginning. That almost looked like both teams was not ready for today's game. But the Bears did not have, like, they didn't even adjust initially to, like, say it looked like it was easy what they was doing. They were just putting an extra man on Larry Bourne's side, and they were just rushing that one guy off the side. And it went the whole first quarter not doing nothing about that. Then eventually, I think what they started trying to do was they started trying to run that direction, and they started trying to run some screens. But the Bears definitely, I hope we could get Johnson back. Dante Foreman did okay today, but he doesn't look confident to me when he's running.
Right.
Hey, here's the offense in a nutshell, right? You got a guy that goes out last week and has 200 and some yards, and in the first half you throw him one down football for 7 yards. They ain't got
Right.
nothing to do with no blocking. They ain't got nothing to do with nothing. That's your team being a suck ass team, and you can't
Right.
do nothing about it. We talking about these guys don't look prepared. You a terrible football team. How do you look better? I mean, how do you look prepared when you bad? So the problem is we got some weapons, and I've said it before. You got DJ Moore. Nobody really else is a guy that's gonna just. I'm not preparing for nobody else. As a defensive coordinator, I'm preparing for Justin Fields and DJ Moore. Everybody else, I'm not losing no sleep over. Even Mooney, Scott, none of them other dudes, I'm not losing no sleep over preparing for you. When you throw the ball to this guy one time, I've seen this all year long. Even in high school football, we got guys that are just dominant in a position. It was like 2-3 weeks ago. I'm on the sideline. This coach was like, "Man, who is this kid?" I said, "You ain't even got to worry about it, dude. They ain't gonna even throw him the ball no more." He's like, "What do you mean?" I said they throw him the ball about 3-4 times a game. They threw it to him 3 already, so they done. He was like, "Are you serious?" They never threw him the ball again. Kid jumping all over everybody, catching the ball. They kicked the ball out to him, touchdown, and you never find a way to get him the ball. So Larry Boehm, Cody Whitehair, all of that ain't got nothing to do with them dudes throwing this guy the ball one time for 7 yards in the first half. You trying to lose. All right, I'm done. I'm getting off my soapbox.
Hey, Mike, I agree. I agree. You know what? The rest of those guys, man, they just got to get in when it happened. See, to me, it did kind of feel like they was approaching it like, man, we got to get Scott some throws and we got to get Mooney involved. Guess what? You just get it whenever we find you. But we throwing to DJ Moore until you just happen to be open to broken coverage or something. I mean, hey, it's just like in basketball. I think it was Kobe saying, hey, when you get that rebound, you just better put it back up. That's when you go touch it.
But did Cole Kmet play today?
Huh?
Who?
Did Cole Kmet play today? I don't know. I don't even know if he was out there.
It's like that. Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones. That's what I'm saying. You got to get the ball to your playmaker. If you don't get the ball to your playmaker, you're helping the other team on defense. I'm not even mad if Justin tries to squeeze one in and double coverage to DJ Moore. But it's like, man, you got to take a shot. I mean, you throw the ball to this guy one time. He's the NFL player of the week, offensive player of the week. Man, I mean, what else do you have? What other options do you have? Like, what are we doing?
Right. Now, I did think that last drive they should have been running more because they should have been milking the clock. And you just had a play, like Plank said, where you kind of threw up almost like a Hail Mary that you was fortunate that was not picked off. Then you come back, and that was some bad play calling because now looking at this, I see Moman mentioned Foreman. Foreman had 15 rushes for 65 yards. So that's about 4.3 yards a pop. So that's a nice little groove going. And like I said, in that situation, you got a rookie quarterback, his first experience in the game, and you're in a 2-minute drill, but you're pretty much in the red zone and with almost a minute 50 seconds left, and you're throwing deep bombs. Know your personnel.
Yeah. It's a shame. The best looking player out there today was Velvet Valus Jones, if you ask me. So he did pretty well on the kickoff return. He actually had a running play or two that he looked decent. And it's a shame that I'm actually hanging my hat on that because I'm expecting to get nothing out of anybody other than DJ Moore. I'm actually wasn't even expecting to get anything out of whoever number Mooney, Darnell Mooney. So it's pretty much a shame. One of the few times the defense actually shows up and really does show something. They did a pretty good job. They played well. The offensive line was our killer today, if you really want to ask me.
They did all right in the second half. Now, in the first half, Cousins was finding people that was wide open. In that first half, they were wide. I was like, man, what? The dude just came from the grocery store. He just lined up for Minnesota. Now he out here. How's he getting a first down? Like, man, I mean, like against our starters. I'm like, sometimes we look in the first half, we look lost in coverage.
All right.
We look like we were lost in coverage on that one touchdown in the back part of the end zone. I think that was, I don't know if that was Briscoe or Gordon, where the guy looked like he was running in and he just came straight out and he was like, oh, that's my guy. Let me go run and catch him. And then the other thing, we was talking about Mooney. I posted in the group, dude, Mooney was out there blocking like Claypool. So on that one screen of DJ Moore, I was like, damn, is that Claypool? I was like, oh, no, it ain't no difference. Dude, it ain't no difference. He just got exposed. It's the same thing. I was like, is that 10 or 11? That's when you said Plank was like, no, Claypool is 6'4". I was like, oh, they look the same on that play. That's that same play
does
too.
Bernard's screen look like Buster Screen's face mask?
So hey, this is what we had. Mooney was targeted 3 times today, 2 receptions for 48 yards. DJ Moore was targeted 8 times, 5 receptions for 51. Scott was targeted 4 times, 2 receptions for 12. Komet, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 9 yards. That's not getting it done. I see somebody saying he had an ankle injury, but that's not getting it done. He need to work on his leg strength. He still get tackled too easy to me by corners. I mean,
be 6'6", 260. You're right.
Yeah. I mean,
You know what our problem is, man?
Mm-hmm.
Our problem is we don't have an identity. And what I mean by that is every team that's a successful team in the NFL, they have at least 1 or 3 plays that they're synonymous with, that no matter what happens or how bad they do, they can run that play and get some traction. We don't have that, man. It's like I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this game. The very first snap didn't Justin Fields get sacked on the very first snap? It's like, well, if you got that type of pressure, then hey, I need to do some dink and dunks, or I need to run the ball. It's like there's not one. I mean, it's sad that if we want to think of a signature play for us, like the last couple years, is a jet sweep, and we know how that's gone. We don't have that signature play, man. It's like you never have a situation where you as a fan look at your squad when they're not doing well and they line up in a certain way and you know they're going to run a play and you automatically know they're going to get something. We don't have that, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said Komet is 6'6".
Is he?
Yeah, I know he's pretty big guy.
Y'all ever seen Full Metal Jackson? He was like, "How tall are you, Private Pal?" I didn't know they said that high.
Yeah. Where you from? Texas.
Like, that's what some of this you talking about. DJ Moore 51 yards. Come on, man. That's not even a common courtesy for a reach right there. Gee,
yeah,
that's terrible. I mean, and I don't care who quarterback it. I don't care who the quarterback is. If you don't get the ball to your weapons, then you're not going to. We get DJ Moore has 200 yards, we win. DJ Moore has 50 yards, we lose.
Right.
I mean, it's simple math. The math got a math.
Yeah, what you can't do is stop yourself. Right. You have to go and target your best player. You know they're gonna double team them. They're gonna try to do stuff to take them out of the game. What you can't do is stop them by yourself, because now you're gonna outsmart them. I'm not gonna go to them. No, you keep going to your guy, right? You make them stop you from throwing it to them, and then when they stop you, keep going. You keep going. You keep working it to him. He's that kind of player.
The Bears thought they had an advantage today because Justin Jefferson didn't play. And you would have thought, there was a big sigh of relief. But, like Mike was talking about, they had a guy that was bagging groceries yesterday that was out there burning every corner that we had.
And who you telling? And your boy was jogging, man. Was it Jalen Johnson on the slant? It's one thing. It's one thing to be. It's difficult to cover a slant. But when the receiver run a slant and you look at your doggone number 1 cover guy and he jogging, but like you were saying, see, DJ is he's not a good receiver. He's a Hall of Fame caliber receiver. If I'm a quarterback, even when it's tight, I can throw it up there knowing at least half of him he gonna catch it. But if you don't throw it to him, he shouldn't have to have it. I mean, 51 yards for a guy like that, man, is just pitiful.
Yeah. You know what? And this was really the game. If the pressure was coming from the left, why you just didn't roll your quarterback out to the right? This was actually the game that your quarterback should have been rolling away. And what they decided to do, like I said, is they decided to just run the ball that direction, and they tried to throw some screens that direction. But let's go to what you just said. Defensively playing I think it was a tight end. What's his name? Hawkinson
and KJ Osborne.
Okay, Osborne had 4 receptions, 48 yards. Hawkinson had 6 receptions, 50 yards.
Wow.
Kirk Cousins was 21 of 31. 181 yards, 1 TD. He was sacked twice. His QB rating was 93.6. So that's not bad that the Bears are at least starting to show up in the sack column now. But you got to score points to win in the NFL. I mean, the points from the previous 2 games don't carry over.
You're right.
Yeah, they don't count in this game. So
yeah, I think the biggest thing that's happening to us this season is we losing a turnover battle. And if you look at all of the 6 games we played this year, giving up 2 turnovers a game, and even with that, again, one of those turnovers ends up being a pick 6 where the defense actually takes the ball and scores on their own. That's really hard to overcome.
Right. You know what I like? One stat I like to know. I like to know how many times have we scored off of turnovers in the course of the year. Because we didn't have some turnovers in some really key spots, and it's like we can't capitalize on them.
I don't think we got any touchdowns.
I don't think we scored.
I don't think we scored.
No, I'm just saying, as far as like once we've got a turnover and either them taking it to the house or the offense coming out and scoring after that. I don't think out of all the turnovers we had, I don't think we've had a score.
I agree with you. I
think
you're right.
I think we had 1 field goal. We had 1 field goal. It was maybe the second game of the season or the third game. There was a turnover that we converted to a field goal, but that's it. All the rest of them have been dubs because some of them we got it in field goal position and had penalties, and we ended up not in field goal position.
Right. It's like having a migraine and you taking a Motrin. Oh, it's gonna make you feel good, but guess what? It's coming back. That's what it just feels like. We get a turnover. You happy that you got a turnover, but it's like after they get the turnover and the offense will come out, it's like,
So that means the defense is when they have a kind of game like this. I know they was giving up a lot of passing yards early in the first half, but they were still keeping the score down. Like I said, basically only gave up 12 points, 13. They gave up 30.
Yeah, that's because Justin Jefferson wasn't playing today.
Yeah, yeah.
Just think about the dude that came from the shopping mart center. He was open, right? Just think if Justin Jefferson was playing, dude would have been really open.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
it'd have been more explosive plays.
And do me a favor, please, guys, stop calling Jalen Johnson our number 1 corner. That dude couldn't cover his bed.
It was just a matter of reference. He just that mofo that's out there with a number 33. But the dude, the receiver they had for Minnesota was the guy that was just out in Jamaica with me selling bracelets.
And mine.
He got paid and got a touchdown.
See, I have to go back into witness protection because I cannot say I'm a Bears fan anymore. So now in my country, we play football, but it's called soccer because not here. These mother suckers can't play.
Right.
Tell me, say, what go on you talk about football? You know football here with the soccer. Rasclat.
Hey, I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in today on YouTube and Facebook. Hey, Mo Man said the Bears should have ran the ball down their throats. This definitely a game, especially when Justin Fields went out. You was only down about 6 points at that time in the game when he went down. That's when you do go and you just pin your ears back and you try to just establish some kind of dominance in the running game and to try to get some momentum back. So that's one thing I haven't seen from this team, even though we had a few good games. I haven't seen at any point where the Bears offense decided to commit to a run game. What is that point? Oh, okay. Yep.
You mean commit like marriage?
Yeah.
And what was crazy, Foreman had a couple nice runs, man.
He did.
We just helping him out, calling Luke Gessie. I mean, I don't even know if this dude could call a high school game the way he be over there. It's really about coaching, and Christian had a post talking about I don't think that we should draft a quarterback, and I just look at. I always talk about Dan Campbell because when he came in, I saw his press conference. I was like, this dude crazy as hell, right? And then that was what he's talking about. we're gonna be biting these guys' kneecaps and doing all this and all that, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, who is this dude? And then I watched them play, and I'm like, man, these dudes ain't bad. Like the Lions ain't bad. And what's crazy, they took a guy that the Rams didn't want no more. And Jared Goff, like, hey, let's just trade quarterbacks. We'll take Stafford. Y'all take Goff. I mean, Stafford got the ring, but you ain't even heard nothing about him since the Super Bowl, you know.
Right.
And Jared Goff is on the upswing. I was
Mhm.
like, man, it ain't always about. I mean, I'm a Justin Fields fan, but I don't care about the stats. I care about the W's. I don't,
Right.
that's
Mhm.
whatever it
Mhm.
takes to make the team win. That's what it's about. And right now, we just don't have that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't know how to win.
Right. That's
So
true. You know what? I want to say this. I see Mo Man said Foreman should have had about 20 carries. I agree. So earlier when I was saying he was not running with confidence, I wasn't saying he was running bad. It was just like even what they were saying, it's like the Bears coaching staff don't have confidence in him, right? Because you kept hearing the comment that said, this is what we want more out of you. So that may even make a running back kind of like more of like tentative, right? Because he had some runs where it was like it was a good run, but it was like he seemed uncertain. Like, okay, let me just secure the ball and grind it out. Where I'm sure they need to instill that they do have confidence in him because the broadcasters should not be talking about that. Why are they talking about the running back hasn't shown them enough yet, right? He's the starter at this point. He's the starter until you get further notice because you got another running back that's out at least 3 more games, so he's your starter. So why would they even know you're counting doubt in this guy, right? And I know you had him inactive early this year. Doesn't matter. He's the workhorse at this point.
Well, to their credit, he actually did fumble today. If you really want to count on it, so
Not
you
that that
know,
was the other guy.
no, that was Foreman.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? What does Larry Zonka and John Riggins have in common? Every last person that made the Hall of Fame got this one patch. When they go in there, you see the jacket. But if all of them take the defensive guys, if they take their shirts off, they got this big bruise in their midsection they couldn't get rid of, courtesy of John Riggins and Larry Zonka. Why is that? Because Miami and doggone DC or Washington, what they did was, oh, well, Miami, what's his name? What was his name? The guy that the quarterback back in the day. But anyway, you had and Joe Theismann in Washington. When they wasn't throwing, run the ball. And they was putting helmets in these dudes' stomach. Because what happens is you grind the defense down, all that one stat that they say, oh, he's got hardiness. That means he's got bounce. You hit a dude in this midsection enough, and you tackle a dude enough, by the fourth quarter, he ain't gonna have that same bounce. But what do? We got guys that can get some yards and do stuff. What do? We run some Three Stooges, Marx Brothers stuff, and then we come back to the run. The guy stand up the line waiting for him, man. I just don't get it. Maybe I'm just too old school.
Yeah. So over that point that Mike made about Dan Campbell, one of the things I take out of that is you got to coach your personnel. You got to coach the guys that's playing. I mean, you can't coach. I think somebody was saying it last year or the year before with Nagy. You can't coach the player you wish you had. You
Yeah,
got to coach the guy that's on your
that you got.
team, right? And so, for example, that end around with Velus Jones was nice today. He actually looked like, I mean, he actually came out the backfield. Let me take that back. What an end
Velvet?
around.
Velvet was great. Ooh. But that other quarterback from Miami was Bob Greasy. That's who I meant.
Oh,
And if
I
you look at their numbers, Theismann and Greasy didn't have great numbers, but when you look at Riggins and Zonka, they had some bananas numbers because you know what? These offenses, just like I said prior to it, we don't have go-to plays with Washington and with Miami. When they couldn't pass the ball, give it to Zonka, give it to Riggins, get out the way, and let them do their work. We got guys that, although our backs are hurt, we got guys that can do that damage, man. But I don't know.
That's old school football because right
Yeah,
now everybody wants to run the spread, and so
right.
you're not even seeing running backs toe the load like that anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, quarterbacks are better because you think about this. Phil Simms, they had what's dude name, number 20, the running back in the day.
Oh shoot.
That
Not Joe Cribbs, was it?
nah,
I
I
know they
can't
had
think of
Thurman.
that little short dude, the number 20.
Oh,
But
He
you
yeah,
had
was
right.
with
Washington
he was
Yeah.
and
with
those, but they didn't have they toted the load back then, and those guys were more or less game managers. You're getting quarterbacks now that you expect to come in and carry a franchise, and they got like Phil Simms and
Mhm.
uh, uh, Theismann and all those guys. They wasn't putting up no big numbers because the dude that was putting up
right.
the big numbers was Marino back then. Him and Elway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody else, and you can't really think of who they running backs were back
Right.
then.
Right.
Well,
And that's why
you're totally right.
Dan Campbell is a good example of coaching your personnel,
Right.
because why do Montgomery have so many touchdowns? Because they're not letting Jared Goff throw the ball in the red zone.
Ding, 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 ding.
They just like, hey, we got 1 or 2 yards. We're gonna give it to our workhorse back.
Hey,
Right?
Yeah,
He
he
may
got
end
hurt
up with a
today
game
too.
with 4 touchdowns, but we'd rather have 4 touchdowns than 4 interceptions in the red zone. you
see,
know.
and we're not gonna win the shootout. But see, the thing is, this was a game where we could have ground and pounded. We could have actually won this game if we just stuck with the ground and pound. But on a general, like you're saying, these offenses do run spreads. If we got teams that could put numbers on the boards, then that's kind of moot. But on a game like this, if we'd have just trusted our running backs and run some more running plays, man, I think we could have possibly got a W here.
Mm-hmm.
Just running clock too as well. But
Good job, Plank.
Yeah, if we add up this season, this current season, and it's the lack of us to make a big play at the end of the game.
Yeah.
This is our 6th game. To Guy's point, we still don't have an identity. But think about how many games we had the ball with being down by 1 score within 4 minutes.
right,
And we ended up getting a turnover or interception or something like that. That's a team that's not executing, that doesn't have bread and butter plays. And I'm throwing that definitely on Getsy. Some of
yeah,
those plays calling when the rookie quarterback Bajan first got in, screen plays. Everybody in the stadium knew he was about to do that after he ran the first one, and I think he ran 3 more screens. I mean, they were so disruptive. They didn't even get the wide receiver to get the ball on the screen. So
right.
he's got to do a better job calling these plays or whatever, especially in an admittedly winnable game like this game was. Kirk Cousins, he looked okay, but he wasn't even as good as the regular Kirk Cousins that I've seen over the years. So it's disheartening to have the Bears keep showing up or not showing up like this. But part of the issue is I don't know what to expect from them.
You know what? Something that Bernard said, which was interesting the other day in the text, he was talking about Caleb like holding the ball too long. Remember you were talking about
Oh,
that?
I said that last week about Caleb
And
Williams.
you know what? What it is the confidence that they have with the offensive line that they have out there. So it's like they got pro offense out there, offensive line. And people just automatically think they just fanboy. Oh, this boy, he gonna come in, he gonna be great. Guess what? He comes to the pros and playing like that. Guess what? He'd be just like the rest of them, getting sacked and getting beat up.
Yeah, because I posted I sent y'all a text message last week saying this exact thing. I said Caleb Williams holds the ball too long and he takes too many hits. I said that last week.
Yep.
Yesterday, I mean, how many times did he get sacked yesterday? I mean, this is not to say he's not going to be a good pro or nothing like that, or a great pro, but you know what? It makes me feel like that's Andrew Luck. Because that's who you comparing it to, but why Andrew Luck didn't play long? Andrew Luck quit about 6 years in, retired because he got tired of getting hit. He got hit a whole lot and he was hurt a whole lot. He did a great job, but his career was real short.
And to be fair to Andrew Luck, and it's no disrespect, Andrew Luck was a heck of a quarterback.
Sure was.
It just go to show. You know, y'all can talk about talent and everybody's talking about, oh, we're going to draft a quarterback. You're going to draft a quarterback to come to the Bears and he going to get the same thing that everybody else got.
What you got,
So,
Plank?
just to be clear, Caleb Williams holds the ball too long and takes too many sacks. And we try to grab that guy and put him in the offense with our current quarterback who holds the ball too long and takes too many sacks.
Sound like some of the same deficiencies, right?
Hey, Plank, it's a black thing. Y'all wouldn't understand. It's a black thing. Don't worry
The
about
beauty
it.
of this whole conversation is the fact that all of us watch a whole lot of football. And I know a lot of people like to fanboy about what they woulda, coulda, shoulda, and they wish. But with us in the process of watching a lot of football and certain tendencies, a lot of times, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes we think, what would happen if we put that dude in our offense? And usually it just goes real quick like, nothing.
Hey, let's get
He's a
grades.
small guy too, man.
Yeah, what he may be what 5'11", maybe
Maybe.
5'11" and a half.
He beat me with some pumps.
He looked like Kyler.
Hey, listen, man, what?
To me.
I said he beat me height-wise. He beat me with some pumps.
Wait, Plank, you said they list him at what?
6'1".
Oh, hey, I'm 5'10". They used to do that for me in the college thing too.
Shout
out to Mississippi Valley right now. I'll be like, yeah. Get the
I
media
got that
guy. I'll be
player.
like, oh yeah.
I got that player card too. My height was listed at 5'10". I'm like, no, I'm not. It's like
Yeah, they had me at 6'1", 195. I'm like, oh, thank you. They trying to get
then
me
you
to the
get
show.
that girl. I thought you were taller than this.
We had them screw-in cleats back then. You had to wear the screw-in.
Yeah.
Couldn't wear them sharps back then.
So I have a grade for the offense today. The offense gets an F today from me. Anybody got grades on offense?
I'm already ahead of you, B. I ain't even put 3 fingers up this time. It's just, you know what, like you say, you can't take a player and put players in and give them the tutelage of what you want them to be. You got to look and see what they have and play to their strengths. It's like I don't think Getsy did that, and especially when Justin went out, everybody was probably looking at this boy. Oh, this rookie, he cooking. And as soon as he threw the interceptions, like, well, so I got to get him the finger, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna put the offense on academic suspension after this week's performance. They did not perform up to the standards of this school.
Not even probation.
So no, you know what? After you get an F, and you get a certain number of Fs, you can't even go out there and compete anymore for the student body. So
if you get 5 more, you can go to the amusement park because you got 6 flags.
Hey, what about you, Mike? What you got grades for the offense?
Yeah, I mean, not getting the best player of the ball, not running the ball, and have you ever looked at some of these guys' resumes, right? And if you go back and look at Luke Getsy's resume, like his playing resume, you will understand why he calls the offense the way he does. I mean, no professional experience. I mean, he's just, you just sitting there and it's just like he's doing on-the-job training. But yeah, the offense is Getsy. What is that? The great Getsy? He's not that. He's definitely not the great Getsy. Yeah, he's not that.
His hobbies are reading Plato, and he likes horticulture.
Yeah, so I don't even think we should give him a F. I think, like, remember back when we was in kindergarten, you used to get U's and stuff like that. I used to get like a U, like a little farther down than F. It's got to go farther than the F. You can't just stop at F with that guy.
What was it? What was it? EGSU.
Yeah,
like what was you like? Unsatisfactory.
You, yeah.
Hey, it
should be an F.
See,
U on that.
Yeah, F U. There we go. Hey, there we go, guy. F U.
You know what? Only thing from looking at his background, I seen that he did some play calling in college or something, and I want to say it was for a small school. But the
DeVry.
interesting thing I see with him, and I know it's all up on the camera, people, I have never seen him show like who's in the booth helping him, right? Like somebody's up in the booth. I've never seen like somebody else like this guy's in the booth helping him call plays. So it makes me think like it's just his show. Maybe he need to get off the sideline. I don't know.
No,
we was calling the plays, B.
Yeah, right. So they should just do it like how they do for Jerry's Kids when you call in to make a pledge. You call in to make a play. You call in to make a play instead of a play.
Hey, you know what? This is what they ought to do when Justin Fields get back. Hopefully he's not out long. Man, look, this never fails, man. Just give him a stick and just cut out, let him dig up a little dirt. You remember how we used to draw our plays back in the day? You run in the dirt. You run this route. You run this route. You run this. Right. Hey, we be out the huddle, man. We used to be out of the huddle in about 10 seconds drawing those sticks.
It wasn't no audibles either.
Bro, I didn't think we moved the ball much back then. I don't think we moved the ball much back then because I was always going to that same fire hydrant. I don't know.
Yep.
We had the same fight. I'm open.
Yeah.
I quit.
So if it is a dislocated thumb, I mean, you definitely gonna like playing indicated it's gonna be what you said, 4 to 6 weeks?
I say about 4 weeks.
For a quarterback, that might be even worse. I mean,
yeah,
I can't hold the ball if you ain't got a thumb. That makes
you
it a little
grip it. Right.
Yeah, and that was a very fluke play because most of the time when you seen quarterbacks get that injury, it's usually from they getting hit while they throwing it. It looked like he did it when he was falling. I mean, that's I could kind of tell. Yeah, because he was tossing he was kind of getting rid of the ball as he was falling to the ground. So I guess he kind of fell on his thumb or something. But hey, let's move over to the defense as far as grades. Anybody got grades for the defense?
I gave the defense a C plus actually.
I was gonna say
That's my same thing. I had a C plus too.
So they actually got off the field a couple times on third down, which is something that I haven't been used to watching the Bears do this year. They played with some kind of cohesion. They had a little fire to them. I was still upset about the Bears starting DBs giving up those easy completions, but the defensive line played a little bit better. There was a Yannick Ngakoue sighting, but he wasn't actually sighted playing football. He was thinking he had ordered a hot dog or something like that after the second quarter. There's some people who called on him. But one of the things about defense is we heard all of this great stuff about what Flutes was going to do conceptually, and he was going to be ahead of times and all this other stuff. Whatever happened to him saying that he was going to he was going to try to get a defensive coordinator to kind of make up for some of the things that he lacked? Did they get another defensive coordinator? No. So Flutes has actually got additional responsibilities when it's already been proven that he's not able to handle his current load as a head coach. So I think that's a recipe for disaster.
But you remember when Jesse Johnson left Prince and the town and other stuff, and he had this thing called the Jesse Johnson experience? This is the Jalen Johnson. This is a Jalen Johnson experience, man. He that dude that think he could pull every woman and he great, and then somebody pull his woman in front of all his friends. That's what he looked like today. Because, I mean, it's like this guy is on his contract year, and next year it's going to be one of the things where he just come to the door before he say something, everybody going to be laughing at him. I'll tell you what, though, Jaquan Brisker, if everything holds up when it's all said and done, he's going to be one of those Bears that are going to be revered just like a Peanut was. Because, man, I don't care what nobody say, win, lose, or draw. This dude was ringing bells and knocking clocks off. He seemed like, to me, he just seemed like the guy, whether beat or not, he was just up. Everybody else just seemed like they had their feet in the sand. And Jalen Johnson, man, like I said, that one slant, when that dude did that slant, he was jogging. I'm like, dude, you better not ask for $17 on your next contract.
Okay. Yeah, I see Brother Tyler gave him a B defense a B plus. They said they only gave up 12 points, 220 yards, less than
Yeah,
50 yards rushing,
yeah,
zero second half points, one
That's pretty
first
good.
down.
Right.
That's a great point.
true. Yeah,
That's a great point. Matter of fact, I may just upgrade mine to B minus, not necessarily a B plus for me, because they still were giving up yardage. But I will say this probably was TJ Elwood's best game as a
it
Bear,
was. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
non-statistically, right? Because statistically, if you look at it, you would think all his grades been great, you know. But
yeah,
this is actually a game where he actually made some impact in the game as far as
right,
putting pressure. And the Bears tackling did look better from the 10-day break. I had to give them credit. A
right.
lot of the first guys were bringing the guy down today. Or if they didn't, they stayed with the play. It wasn't like what we had been seeing. The first guy just whiff on the tackle and he's out of the play. So you did see the guys making tackles that they had been missing all year. And I did see some nice hits here and there. And that's something they can improve on. I don't know what they're going to do about Jalen Johnson. I mean, I'm kind of, I don't know. This may be one that he may not get off of that contract at all.
He not. I said that
You
before the
can't
season
mention his
started.
name without quick getting mad.
They're gonna
not
play
getting
him.
no
They're gonna pay
contract.
him in Snickers.
Man,
The
nah,
two
they gonna
players of the game for me was Jaquan Brisker and doggone Tevin Jenkins, just pushing dude over to the first down like he was moving the couch up in the projects.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, man.
You know what? One thing they got to do, they do have to work on is on the right side of the field. And I see every team is ever able to exploit them on it.
Yeah.
Okay. They have this gap in their secondary where the corner covers the people in the flat, and before the safety comes up and it's right over the linebacker, but it's more so like on the right side of the field. You constantly have receivers and tight end who stop and sit down in that area, and they're wide open constantly in that area. I don't know whose assignment it is. I'm going to lean towards that's the middle linebacker fault, even though it's not directly in the middle. I think it may be the middle linebacker fault. Plank and Quit. Who y'all think is that problem with that play?
Quick, you go ahead first.
Well, it just depends on the basic coverage over the top, because when I used to coach, I used to always tell people, the people that was playing defense, even though we're in the zone, you have to cover the people that's potentially in your zone,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Match
If I'm the middle linebacker and I got deep middle and nobody's coming deep middle, well, I may need to shade over to the right because I see this receiver trying to break out on a skinny post or a slant. So, and I see him coming, and I just need to keep getting depth, because if now the quarterback wants to throw the ball, he's got to throw the ball over me, and I just got to keep sinking, and now he's got to make that throw, and hopefully the safety over the top can pick that ball off or make a play. Or if the ball comes across the middle of the field, or just on the hook curl, you can't cover hook to curl unless you get to the person that's running the hook to curl.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in your zone if you're not to the person that's in your zone. So it just depends. I had to really take a look at what's going on. But I know that's why I said in the first half, they had a couple blown coverages because they were like looking around at each other. Like, I'm like, no, that's you. That's you. Who's supposed to be guarding that dude, man?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because it almost appears like the linebacker's not getting enough depth. Hey, yeah, Plank. I'm sorry.
No, to that point, a lot of the DBs and the linebackers, there's a lot of empty spots in the defense for whatever reason. It seems like a lot of times, let's say I'm a cornerback and my job is to cover the flat. But just like Mike just said, if nobody comes to the flat, I should have my head up, my head on the swivel, trying to look to see where they're coming from and try to work to get there. What we're seeing a lot of times with the Bears is guys say, hey, I was supposed to cover the flat. I'm over in the flat, so I don't care if this other guy ran 5 yards beyond me and got a catch. That wasn't my responsibility. Well, It kind of is. Yeah. There's only so much field that can be covered. If you don't have anybody in your primary responsibility, how long is the play going to go? It's going to go, what, 5 seconds? You still looking for somebody else that you can cover. At least you should be if you're a good defensive player.
You know, I'm glad you guys both said that. I'm glad you guys came up because I've seen defensive backs, and the defensive backs that kind of like maybe spend some time together just talk about little nuances. Like, hey, if dude gonna slant right here, we in here. This is what you gonna do. I've seen a lot of great defensive backfields who've actually been able to take those type of things and kind of between a man because everybody's on the same page. They understand, okay, this ain't what the play is gonna do for us defensively, but this is what we do with our collective guys. And I've seen that, but with other offenses, defenses like that, they get burnt more. But the ones that talk more like what you guys say, because I was going to ask you guys a question, what happens if do you guys ever deviate from the play as far as coverage? But you guys explained it great, though. And I kind of figured it was like that, but that just kind of puts concrete on letting me know that it is really like that from a communication standpoint.
Yeah, you don't see enough talking in the secondary in today's game. You see it when they go on the sideline, but hell, that play over now. I mean, you on the sideline. You need to be adjusting while you out there. You know, even if it's a conversation of get your depth right, or you was in the wrong spot, or I supposed to get here, something. You don't see that happen. But special teams, I get special teams today at A. If I remember right, the special teams blocked an extra point. They had a nice return. I think one of them got returned back. They had a penalty on it, but still, when you block an extra point and you get the field goals you're supposed to get, I think they had like a 2 or 55 yarder today. It was pretty deep. So, anybody else got great special teams?
Yeah, I agree with you. Santos made his kicks. He did a good job on not getting the return back. Gill, the punter, actually had a ball go out of bounds at the 2, and which put the Bears defense in a really good position. So they actually ended up pushing Minnesota back and getting the ball on the 3 and out. That actually changed the flow of the game a little bit. And again, that came from a special teams play. So I thought the special teams did a great job. I give them an A, actually.
Yeah. You know what? You ever notice that throughout the years, and I'll go back to that team when Nagy first came there, we were 12-4. People looking at, they're a well-oiled machine, they're this, that, and the third. But what made that team go was their defense and their special teams. And when their defense and special teams came through, they had just enough to do it. And you're usually accustomed to when our special teams and our defense do great, then we win those ball games, and we're not. So, but special teams, definitely an A.
Okay. What about you, Mike?
Yeah. Well, we're getting some of the things accomplished that we should. My only down part on special teams sometimes is that y'all cousin doesn't know when to take the ball out from a kickoff.
Yep.
You know, they chased him out of bounds to the 10 one time, and I'm like, come on, man, just leave the ball in there. We'll get it at the 25. If you can't get to the 25, then there's no need for you to try to take the ball out. I mean, you got to look, see what's going on, see what the coverage is coming down. But that's the only thing, and this, that's minor. But nah, I don't want to give them a grade because we didn't win. The whole world to win the game. You know, I feel like Dennis Green. They are who we thought they are. You know.
But you know what? Now, I will say this on special teams: you got to start getting some returns out of who's that? Scott back there catching it? Is that Scott?
On punt return, yeah.
Punt return. Who's that? Yeah, you need to get a little bit. Like today, you didn't really get too many. I can't recall any. Maybe 1 or 2. You do got to get some more yards. I mean, it's kind of almost like they're kind of back there, just like, hey, just catch the ball, and
Yep.
So I would like to see some more positive yards at that. I mean, because I don't want to operate from a point of view of just catch the ball and don't fumble it. I mean, you pros, you ain't supposed to fumble. If you fumbling, then we need to get somebody to replace you. But it shouldn't be just catch the ball just so we get a possession on those punts. But the kickoffs, if that's the only value Velus Jones got, then I'm not sure why he's still on the team or at least active. I mean, why is he on the active roster if that's all you're going to use him for is kickoff at the most? Well, I know he got some plays today, but that's because they down so many running backs.
He got a couple plays.
Real quick, I wanted to go back. We talked about defense. Effectively, defense always comes down to math. It's funny coming from Lindblom and whatever, people always say that. We got basically 7 players trying to keep up with 5 players. That's basically what it is. So if you going back to what the DBs and the linebackers are supposed to do, they're supposed to fill voids. If you see somebody in your area, you automatically say, okay, that means there's 6 players left to cover 4. Are we able to do that? If you see 2 guys in your area, you're like, okay, I split the difference between these 2 guys. So now I have the ability to give my team an advantage. So there's no way that you're going to be a good DB if you don't have the ability to think on your feet. Good linebacker. You need to be able to look at these guys, keep your head on the swivel, and anticipate where they might be going. Mm-hmm. So sometimes they look at DBs as just fast guys or brutes or whatever, but they're pretty smart for the most part. The best ones are. The worst ones are.
Plank, what is happening occasionally in the last few games is it was a couple of times where the Bears are actually bringing 6. So the secondary is 5. Some of them are being 5-on-5 because you bring in 2 guys to try to get pressure on the quarterback. But that's when those guys down front got to be able to do their job. But until you do that, still it's math, right? because 5 should be able to cover 5 or 6 should be able to cover 5, but definitely 7 should be able to cover 5. So as a matter of fact, when the Bears, the math probably still add up because when the Bears brought 6, I think they was only sending 3 out. So
right.
Yeah, but even if they sending 3 out, they still got two running backs that's in there blocking or tight end that can release. They end up releasing, they end up being in the flat. That potentially can be a big play as well. So, again, it all comes down to math. You got to account for where everybody is.
Yeah.
Right.
So they did do good on those plank. That's one of the part I will say they did do good on. They was bringing those backs down in the flat down right away. That was catching balls out of the backfield. They did do that well today.
It was an 8-string back, but you're right.
Hey, so who's the next game against?
The Raiders.
The Raiders?
Yep. The Los Angeles Raiders.
Are we in Vegas?
If
we in Vegas, you got to find out when their payday is, because the Bears get paid. Going in with that money.
You get paid on Tuesdays, man.
The one thing I was thinking about defensive backs that would scare me that hasn't been utilized, and I think from what I've seen in their porous coverage, a pump fake. The pump fake would guarantee it's going to be at least 2 dudes open.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the pump fake does that the same thing with quarterback's eyes. Because a lot of times, as soon as the quarterback looks in a different directions, DBs almost have to react. It's like, oh, there's the cheese, free cheese. And that's why the best quarterbacks that have the ability to look you off, they can manipulate a defense and they can pick you apart immediately.
Yeah. So
y'all brought up the Raiders.
These games because even though we're playing the Raiders, you got to remember now we're actually going to be playing a backup quarterback for the next several games for sure.
But I'm nervous just knowing Devontae Adams is going to be on the field.
What you say, Plank?
Something happened to Garoppolo?
No. I'm talking about we're going to be playing a backup quarterback.
Oh,
right. Actually,
but you know what? Garoppolo did leave the game today.
Yeah. Garoppolo got hurt too. Everybody got hurt today. It was just one of them days, man.
Yeah.
Everybody got hurt.
He got hurt in the second quarter today.
It's like you get an injury. Wow. You get an injury.
Also, home game.
Okay.
This is a home game.
I don't know that helps us. Was today a home game?
Yeah.
It didn't look like it.
what had happened was what had happened was man, we I don't know. We got pieces too, and just to go back when you guys brought up the Raiders, right? We got this guy who had 4 different quarterbacks throw him the ball last year for 1,000 yards, right? We get him 51 yards. It goes back to when Devontae Adams was at Green Bay. You knew he was getting the ball, and Aaron Rodgers just kept throwing. You were like, God, y'all don't even know he's getting the ball.
You're right.
Like you need to put 8 people on him and just like skip it. All right, come on, let's play. You just gonna put 8 people over here.
Yeah,
but
they didn't stop them themselves, right? That's what I was saying. You got to make the other team stop you from doing it, you know, versus you gonna be outsmart them. Oh, we're not gonna go to them. We're gonna use them as a decoy. No, you don't need no decoy. They can't stop the guy, you know. So keep going to him, you know.
Hey,
so anyway,
my problem is this. I call it the Fred Biletnikoff syndrome. Remember, you put that stickum on his hands. He was catching everything, and then they banned it. They kept throwing it to him. And he was still catching it. Your dog, I don't care what it is. Your dog, win, lose, or draw with your dog. That's why these premier receivers with these other squads are still getting guys with catches, and we just act like we scared because you see him shoulder to shoulder with DJ. You don't throw it.
Here's the problem, Bernard. You never use your best player as a decoy. I don't care what's going on.
Right.
Jimmy Chipwood wants to shoot the ball. No matter what, when they say we're going to make you a decoy, Jimmy Chipwood said, I'll make the shot. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. You know, the only time you're supposed to be a decoy if you're the best player is you injured and you shouldn't be out there and they just put you in the last few seconds because they want to create. That's the only time that your best player should be a decoy. That's it. Other than that, hey, make them stop you. You know, I think that's why you're talking about the Raiders. I think that's why Devontae Adams wants out of the Raiders. I think I've heard something about him wanting to go because they're not.
They suck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for lack of a better
Jimmy
term.
Chipwood from Hoosiers too. So there you go.
Okay. So, you know, the Caleb Williams talk is going to heat up this week with Justin Fields being out at least 4 to 6
weeks. Watch him.
Yeah, but it's gonna heat up, or him and some other body. You know, I mean, that's gonna be dominating the conversation till Justin Fields get back. But anyway, if there's nothing else, we'll see you when we get to the pregame show. This is a Sunday game, right? The next game? Okay. So we'll do the pregame either Thursday or Friday this week. Hey, thank you all. Peace.
Deuces.